Hey everyone, welcome back to my DIY channel. I have had a couple people ask how to do the napkin decoupage, and so today I am going to show you, of course, being that we're still in our patriotic theme. I know July 4th is over, but for us here in Utah, we still have July 24th coming up, and so we're still doing DIY projects here in my house. So we are going to do this decoupage DIY project. So I have these wooden pallets that I got from Dollar Tree. I also have these fun napkins. I believe I got these at Walmart. And then I have my little mini heat press. It's going to be on the medium setting. I have some parchment, and I also have some Mod Podge. So what we want to do is we want to take our napkin of choice and we're going to separate the layers. And so usually napkins have 2-ply, they have kind of your decoration, and then they have a kind of a white layer attached to it. And so we want to separate that so we just have the decoration layer, and then I just threw away the white layer. Then what we want to do is, now that we have these nice thin layers, is I'm going to take the little palette that I have and I'm just going to measure how much of the napkin I need, just using a pencil, and I'm just lightly going over it on the back of the napkin. Then I'm going to use scissors and I'm going to cut around the outer edge so that my napkin's going to hang over. In other words, so that I have excess going over my palette, if that makes sense, so that I have more than I need. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Mod Podge and I'm going to put a nice even light layer onto the wooden pallets. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to put this layer of Mod Podge onto these pallets, and then we're going to let it dry completely. And then this is essentially what we're doing, is we're pretending that these pallets already came with its own glue is essentially what we're doing. And so we're just adding this layer of Mod Podge, and then once it dries, it's almost as if it's an invisible layer of stickiness. Like, you're not going to see it because it dries clear. But once we take our heat press, our little mini heat press, and we add heat to it, it's going to melt that layer of glue, and then it's going to adhere the napkin to it. And so that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to put my parchment paper on the napkin, and very lightly, very gently, you don't need a lot of pressure. It's a very delicate and thin napkin layer, and so we don't want a lot of pressure. We don't want to rip the napkin. We just want a nice, gentle, delicate touch here. And I'm just doing this kind of in sections. So as the palette has, kind of 4 sections to it, I'm just kind of adding heat to melt the glue in kind of sections. And as I'm doing the corners, I'm kind of taking the mini heat press and I'm kind of rounding the heat and the napkin over those corners, if that makes sense. And so I'm just following the architecture of the palette, and I'm just following that with my little heat press so that the napkin is adhered to the very edges. And then I'm just going to do that for the rest of the 3 wooden pallets. Again, using just nice, gentle, light pressure on this. It doesn't take much. You're basically just heating the glue that you've put down, the Mod Podge, you're heating that Mod Podge enough so that the napkin layer will adhere to the wood. And you can use this technique with anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be wood. You can use this on, plastic, or I don't know, all kinds of different stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to be these wood pallets. You can make coasters out of, ceramic, or I don't know, whatever you've got laying around in your craft stash. You just want to make sure that whatever napkin pattern you're using, that you cut out, what you're cutting out of your napkin is what you want the pattern to be on your coaster. So in this instance, I want to make sure that I got the blue and the red, because I kind of wanted to mimic the flag, and so I made sure that that was the pattern that I cut out of the napkin, so that I kind of got both of those patterns. And so like for the star, on the star napkin, I wanted to make sure that I got a lot of nice big chunky stars in my coaster, and so that's what I made sure that I cut out of the napkin when I measured it, so that was what was glued onto my coaster, if that makes sense. And so since I wanted to mimic the flag on this one, I made sure that I had kind of a more more stripes, red stripes, that on one side that I did the blue check pattern on the other, just so that it kind of mimicked the flag pattern. And again, on the edges and on the corners, I just kind of take the heat press and I kind of round off the edges so that those so that the napkin is adhered as close to the edge as possible. Then I'm just going to take scissors and I'm going to cut off the excess, and then I'm going to use a sanding block and I'm going to real gently just sand off the edges. And the napkin is so thin and so papery that it'll just sand right off, and it makes these nice, clean, really pretty edges for you. You don't have to sand a lot. It's not, again, just nice, gentle, delicate movements with your sanding block, and this'll come off really nicely and make nice, clean edges for you. And with this particular coaster set, I wanted to kind of give it some different patterns and kind of a different look on each one. And so for this particular one, I decided to take some kind of little sanding tools in this tool set that I had, and I decided to sand between the wooden pallet so that I had kind of holes between them. And then what you're going to do to finish them off is you're going to take another nice light layer of Mod Podge and you're just going to go over the top, and this seals it so that you can put drinks and other things on top of it. You can see on this one I put some kind of crystals on the upper left corner, kind of to mimic a firework or a star, and I'm just going to Mod Podge right over the top of it. Again, this is going to dry clear, and so just a nice light layer. Make sure you get the edges. On this one I put some kind of plastic silver stars on it, and so I'm Mod Podging those right over the top so that those stay and that they adhere. Nice light layer. And then on the other one, I left that one just as it is. I didn't do anything special to it. And then on this one, I sanded in between the edges of the palette so that it's got kind of those sanded openings in between the edges there of the palette. So when you Mod Podge this one, I kind of had to be careful that I got between, the openings there. And then you just make sure that these dry completely. I left these overnight so that the Mod Podge had a chance to dry. just a nice light layer. It doesn't have to be thick or anything. Make sure you get those edges so that they seal as well. And then while those are off to the side drying, I'm going to take just some white chalk paint. You can use whatever color, it doesn't matter. And I have one of these little wooden boxes that I also got at Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to paint the inside and the outside. I just gave this one layer of paint just because I kind of wanted it to be kind of rustic looking. I didn't necessarily want it to be super coated. I wanted it to kind of look kind of rustic, and anyway, but as you can see, the coasters just sit nicely right inside the little box. Then I had these kind of cool shimmery blue letters, and I thought, why the heck not? And so I took my letters and I decided I was going to put USA on the front of my box. And clearly I do not have any sense of space because I didn't space them out very well, so I had to pick them up and move them over. But this just kind of, I don't know, gives it a fun little touch. Put USA on the front. You don't have to do this. I mean, obviously you can just leave your box white, and the coasters just sit nicely right inside the box and kind of just sit nice on your little side table or whatever it is you're gonna do. But these are the finished product, and you can see that it dries clear. And anyway, just fun little coasters. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.